Hi, this video is for Business Communications at Fort Hays State University and Dr. James Ward. My name is Brian Gray, and I had the pleasure of working with Linner and Michael Manahan on this project. And what we did was we took a look at whether or not HR should provide an on-site daycare to its employees. And through the case study, we did the advantages and disadvantages of an employee daycare. We also did a survey at my current employer, Piper High School, and to see what they thought about it as well. So during difficult economic times like we're in currently, companies are trying to find unique ways to provide compensation to their employees to be able to keep them satisfied and keep them employed long term. And we feel that the on-site daycare is one of those benefits to employees that would keep them there long term. Several advantages that we found. One was increased productivity. Basically, by having satisfied employees, it helps your production levels, and you're able to keep everybody happy because of the benefit. Flexible hours was another one, because basically whenever your company is operating, your daycare would also be operating during those times. So even if there was additional hours, or in the case of the school where there were days off, they wouldn't need to provide such services as a daycare. Overall, the income would increase for the employee because the daycare would be on-site, wouldn't necessarily be a for-profit situation. It would also be able to have that employee at work a little earlier, stay later if they needed to, because that child is right there with them. A few other benefits that we discovered through our survey were that new moms liked the idea because they felt like they could return from maternity leave quicker. And then also that they would be able to nurse their child on site. So several new moms gave us great response in regards to that. Another one that we found through the survey was the addition to the high school curriculum. By being able to add career technology classes for students that were interested in early childhood care, they would be able to work hands-on through the daycare, before school, after school. Even if there was a class provided during the school hours, they would be able to benefit from that as well. So those are a few of the advantages that we looked at. There were also several disadvantages that we wanted to also make aware to the school. You probably remember the 1995 Oklahoma City bombing. There was a daycare on the second floor of the Murrah building. I know that that's an extreme disadvantage as far as something that doesn't typically happen, but it is something that we thought was worthy of taking into consideration. Other safety concerns and liabilities were also unlicensed daycare facilities and a few other things that have happened in other states that forced closure of on-site employee daycares. So another disadvantage that we found with the school district was if there was space and availability. We're in a school district here where we're continuing to grow, and so if we took a few classrooms or something away from them, that might be something that in the future would not be available. So those were definite disadvantages. Another one was production and concerns of coworkers. If the child daycare inside the facility would actually be a distraction. If the parents were continually trying to go to the facility to see their child and other things, maybe that would be a distraction from their work. The other thing we looked at was the cost, if it would be cost effective to have the daycare there. And in the case of the school, there's actually classrooms in the basement that are not used very often, and so they would be able to renovate those. There's an exterior entrance there as well that they would be able to secure and use as the entrance for the facility. As far as cost, when we looked at other businesses that provide the daycare, again, as I said earlier, they're not really necessarily looking for a profit, and so this is a benefit they can provide fairly cheap to their employees. Some of the local daycare facilities here in our area, weekly cost for infants $275, school-age children 2 to 4, $240 a week. And I know some of you out there, pay over $1,200 a month just to provide daycare for your children. And so some of the advantages of having a school or an on-site daycare would be that those fees would be almost 50%. It would be quite a bit less for those schools. So our recommendation would be to have an on-site daycare for a company like Piper High School. This is one of the quotes we got from one of our teachers, and she said she would love to have had her kids there when they were little. If a company would have provided an on-site daycare, that would have been a huge benefit and a deciding factor for employment. So again, it's something we decided that if we move forward with this to their school board, that we would recommend this based on the current situation of the high school and renovating those 2 rooms and to provide services for those 38 children ages newborn to age 4. Then in a couple of years, if they're looking at building a new high school in the area for expansion, if that expansion took place, we would ask them to consider putting a daycare facility into the new renovations, or as they restructure a high school, to be able to have an on-site, on-campus daycare that would be maybe even a separate building. So when you look at the overall advantages, they're just overwhelming over most of the disadvantages we found, based on the increased productivity, employees knowing that they work for a company that cares about their families, cares about their kids enough to provide them with this benefit. In this economic time, everybody's looking for some unique way to keep their employees happy and to keep their employees on board for long term. And again, we feel that this benefit of having an on-site daycare is huge in that category. It's just everything like I said, everything we saw in the survey was just overwhelming, and it's just a popular option among their employees. So, thank you very much.